Today I wanted to talk about how to prioritize things. How I think about prioritizing things, currently at least. Priority is one of those necessary issues of those of us that have a hard time concentrating on all the necessary little things. It's one of those things that if at some point you don't admit to yourself that you need to prioritize, you're probably not going to get very much done. And the hard part about swallowing that pill is admitting to yourself that you may not know what's important to you. So the first thing that I would suggest for anyone watching this video that doesn't have a pretty concrete understanding of where they want to be in the next 5 to 10 years is you really need to set the priority of figuring that out. And it comes down to some pretty simple things, in my opinion, to think about. 3 main things are personal, professional, and financial. Personal is probably going to be the one that's the easiest, but the one that matters the most in terms of your emotional commitment to this future. Professional is going to be probably the least important to a major degree if you're functioning based off any of my suggestions. But it doesn't matter what you end up doing and who you end up doing it with. That probably matters the most. And then your financial could be tied with personal or very close second with personal. Because what I believe everyone should be doing, if this is intriguing to you, if you want to figure out your priorities, is setting some sort of quantitative number that indicates whether or not you're improving in life, whether or not you're getting closer to your goal. And there really isn't anything quantitative that's going to be more truthful to you than the amount of money that comes into your bank account in a given day, in a given month, in a given year. There's going to be nothing that allows you to see how well you prioritize more than understanding where your money comes from and how much money you want. So that's the first place we're going to start. The hardest place, obviously, is whatever your conceptions are of what it means to be wealthy or rich. I want you to at least put that number amount somewhere down on a piece of paper right now. That needs to be written out many, many, many times. I want you to start there. Something you're like, I don't think I'm going to hit this, but this would mean I made it. And then I want you to multiply that number by 10. Now you have a very good chance of actually getting to what's a motivational number for you. Now what that really means is you're going to have to go back to your personal. Personally, what are the things in life that excite you? What are the things that when you have, you are lit up, that you are so excited about being alive, that you're so grateful for being alive? What are those things? Are they the people in your life? Is it the opportunities that you have? Is it the experiences that you get to have? Is it the little things? Is it the coffee in the morning? Is it being able to look at something pretty? Whatever it is, those things you gotta start getting a little bit more clear on. Okay, so priority, guys, really, and I am spending this segment to say that this video is not going to be particularly useful for you if you haven't written those things out. Because then how the hell are you going to know? And I have other videos for that too, so if you need help with that, this is very important, so please get that done. Not for myself, for yourself and for your family and for your friends and your community. If you're more clear on where you want to go in the next 5 to 10 years, prioritization is going to be a lot easier. Let's say you are clear on where you want to go in the next 5 to 10 years. If you've already done that, now becomes, okay, first and foremost, the quote that I remember the most in my life is that the most free are the most disciplined. So, besides doing anything else right now, think about the things that are going to discipline you. As I record these videos, I am working out, which you might hear me huffing and puffing. It's not like, oh my God, it needs the full of my attention. But it's because being the super fit person is not my highest priority. But I know that if I don't work out, I'm not going to feel very good about myself. If I don't feel very good about myself, I'm not going to get much done. So, discipline. First priority, guys. You got to set something regular, okay? You got to have regularity. If you got that, you have the opportunity to take responsibility for things. But if you don't have discipline, you're not gonna have freedom. And that means that priority, even if you have your priorities set straight, even if you know what you need to do, you might not be able to do it because you don't have the schedule, you don't have the skills to prioritize yet. So, discipline is the first thing. What time do you wake up in the morning? On the weekdays? On the weekends? What time do you go to sleep at night? How many meals do you eat? How often do you work out? Okay? Do you show up to work on time? On time is not on time. On time is early. Okay? Can you do those 5 things? If you can't do those 5 things, don't move forward here. Okay? That's your priority. Your first priority in life should be consistency. Really. Because then you won't be able to build anything if you're not consistent. So, sleep, wake up, how often you go to work, how often you work out. I hope you're going to work a lot. How often do you work out? Okay? Get all of those things straight up in your head. Next step, after you have set that schedule and followed it for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, and that means your weekend schedule too. Okay, now I'm gonna give you my express consent to go to your PPF, your personal professional financial goals, and think to yourself, okay, cool. So this is what I have. This is how much money I'm taking in right now. Okay, in those 2 weeks, you should also be taking checks on the variables that matter the most, right? How much sleep are you getting? How do you feel? What are you doing? What field are you in? Maybe you're going to go study for becoming something, going to grad school or something, or maybe you need to go into a different job so you can learn some skills that are important to you, okay? If you don't have the discipline, you're not going to want to even do this in the first place, in my opinion. But once you figure that out, now prioritization becomes simple rule of life: big rocks, medium rocks, pebbles, okay? Prioritization is basically that. It's being able to identify what the big rocks are. There's basically a volume, right? A container that has only so much space. And you have 3 different types of rocks to fill this container with. If you start with the small rocks, the rocks won't fit. If you start with the big rocks, and then you go to the medium rocks, and then you go to the small rocks, the rocks fit, okay? That is to say, and this is a very important nuance, that the rocks that you have in front of you actually equal the volume of the space that you have. Why is this important? That the rocks, the volume of the rocks, fit the container that you have. Because you may very well put the big rocks and the medium rocks and small rocks in place and still have a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit. That's why I told you to set a number for yourself. That's why I told you to go and map out your personal, professional, and financial goals, because that determines the size of your container. Now you got to figure out what the big rocks are. Okay, then the money you make is probably one of the biggest rocks. I hope your relationships is one of the biggest rocks. I hope that learning and knowledge and curiosity is a pretty big rock for you. Perhaps creativity, if you're an artist in some capacity or a creative that functions off of these things. Perhaps novel experiences, new experiences in life are big rocks for you. And whatever it is, you got to now go and take a look at your calendar and actually fill that stuff out. Like, when am I doing this stuff? What's the due date? If you want to put an event together, this is one of the things that I struggled with a lot in my life. It was saying to myself that I need to put events together. I used to be like, I guess I'll have events and people will be there, and yeah, I'll have an event and people will be there. That's basically what I wanted to do for events. And what I was missing was, when is the event? How many people do I want, and what is the intention of the event? Okay? One of the coolest things that you can do is actually organize groups of human beings in life. If you can do that, you're going to be very, very valuable, because most other people don't really know how to do that at scale. And do it with intention, and do it with a little bit of logic, a lot of emotion. But that's basically prioritization in a nutshell. So once you get that stuff in your calendar, then it says, okay, these are the times that I wake up, these are the times that I go to sleep, these are the times that I work, and then I have these blocks of time. Now you get to figure out what you want to do with those blocks of time. If you want to go to school and you want to start studying, you should probably carve out time to study. If you want to go and get into a different career and require certain skills and stuff, maybe you need to get some certifications. Maybe you need to start looking around to see which career options are available in your neighborhood. If you want to start working out, maybe those chunks of time, okay, what makes sense? Do I need to wake up early? Do I need to go to sleep early, work out at night, whatever it is? Am I eating like shit? When do I need to go grocery shopping? When do I need to meal prep during the week? Prioritize those things first, and then everything else makes a lot more sense. Everything else will be a lot easier. But in terms of your initiatives and things that are going off the wall, if you're an entrepreneur, for instance, you're gonna have a lot of problems hitting the fan all the time. Okay, you got to make lists of things, that's fine. But then actually making time to take care of those lists of things, that is only possible if you have all the big rocks taken care of. Okay? If you don't make the time to take care of that list of things, it's not going to happen. And then if you're like, dude, I do have the time, I've made the time, but I just don't have the time. I can't be doing this thing all the time. Okay, it takes me like 4 hours to check emails and send all these things out and contact these people and hit up these lawyers and hit up the marketing company, right? Fix my payroll and all that. Like, yeah, I get it. You got to read this book, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Okay, so this is the progression of things, really. And wherever you are at this progression of things, say you're even at the Buy Back Your Time principles, prioritization is still going to be your most important thing. The last thing I'll leave you with, prioritization is your most important thing when you already have freedom. When you have the freedom to prioritize, then prioritization becomes important. You gotta have discipline first. Here's the deal, okay? With buying back your time and all this stuff, it's still gonna take a while to do things, okay? And I never, ever wanna put a cap on how quickly you can get something done, because chances are you can get it done 100 times faster than you think you can. Like 1,000 times faster than you think you can. You just need to have the right strategies. And this is why I'm referencing this book from Dan Martell, because the reality is, I might not know everything, but someone out there does. Everything that you need to know. So that should be one of your big rocks, is finding those people and those philosophies are going to make the biggest difference in your life. No freedom? Forget about prioritization. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself. If you ever need help with any of this stuff, put comments below or hit me up on the DMs. Or if you'd like to sign up as a intern / a mentee, you let me know. I have a bunch more videos. Don't waste your time getting that stuff if you're not willing to watch the videos. And dude, go crush. Absolutely and utterly. We need you.